next speaker is Nesbit Crutchfield, who was part of the BSU. He was part of the whole thing here. So Nesbit, will you talk about some of the things that you did with relation to the Third World Liberation Front?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I think it's really important for you to know that that every person that's sitting on this stage right now were members of the Central Committee of the Third World Liberation Front. Every one of us. There's only one person that I see is missing who attended meetings regularly, and that was Al Wong. Al Wong is not here with us. He's really busy. We love him very much and we miss him. But this is the Central Committee of the Third World Liberation Front. I say that because I think it's important for you to realize that the things you read about the Third World Liberation Front and the Black Student Union, what have you, you need to see it from the standpoint of its reality rather than from its spirit. And the 6 of us, or the 7 of us that are here, are the reality of the Third World Liberation Front. I'm going to talk a little longer than Roger or Carmen. I don't know why they only spoke so short, but I prepared 5 minutes. So I'm going to take up all 5 of my minutes. During this time, 1966, 67, 68, was a time of anti-imperialist raves. That is to say that anti-imperialism was sprouting out all over the world. You had you had Africa in the name of South Africa, the ANC. You had Angola, you had Mozambique. You had Vietnam in the name of the Vietnamese, North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong people. You had Latin America in the name of Cuban sovereignty, the sovereignty of the Nicaraguan people, and the up-and-coming battles of the people of Venezuela and Colombia. You had also oppression in the black communities and the communities of color. You had cops going into these communities and whipping people, beating people, killing people. Black people, brown people, yellow people, and poor white people. And these things were taking very important notice in these communities. And you also had the Palestinian situation. Yes, I'm talking about the same Palestinian situation that we're talking about today, that Professor Rabib talked about earlier today in reference to Ahmed. You had those same issues in reference to Israel and Zionism and how they were oppressing the Palestinian people back in those times. So what happened was this affected us. I'm talking about black people, people of color, and working class white people. It affected us because we took notice of it. We began to see our commonalities, and it infused and affected every aspect of our life, including the times that we went to school, be it elementary school, secondary school, college, or universities. The effect that this situation and this environment had in reference to organizing on black people was that we saw it as necessary. Hear me now. We saw it necessary for us to eliminate the myth of elitist and higher education. To the extent that what we did was we utilized the Economic Opportunity Program and the CETA and other programs that existed to bring as many black people, people of color and working class white people into this institution as possible, and to have them understand that education is a transitional, evolutionary process. It is not a process that you, because of the amount of melanin you have in your skin, makes you either smarter or less smart. That this is the issue of demand, it's an issue of supply, it's the issue of what type of opportunity do you have to deal with educating yourself. Then we talk about what's happening in other communities of color. You had Los Siete. You had Jim Queen and the Patrol Hill organizing. You had various different people in various different organizations in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, representing people of color, coming together and dealing with their commonality, that is to say, the oppression of the settler colonialists that were dominating our community. So what happened at stake? What decision was made, or how did it happen that the BSU and the Third World Liberation Front came together? I'm going to talk about something that I don't think has ever been talked about before. And that is to say that the Central Committee of the Black Student Union was composed of two major elements. One being internationalists, Pan-Africanist internationalists, in the name of the two prime people representing that ideology was Terry Collins, who's sitting to my extreme left, and myself. And you had other people representing what we call now cultural nationalism, which basically stated that if you were black, then there was a certain extraordinary understanding, extraordinary place that we place, I got 1 minute, that we place for you, and that everything abided by that. There was a very intense battle within the Central Committee of the Black Student Union as to which side would prevail. Luckily, the internationalist side prevailed. That's the reason why we today are sitting here on the stage. That's the reason why we today are celebrating 50 years of this strike that closed the school down, because we realized that we had more in common as people of color, as black people, and as working class white people than we had that divided us. Lastly, I'm not through yet, but I have to say this. Lastly, it was important for us to learn to know each other, learn to trust each other, learn to allow each other to speak for each other. And this came with time, this came with patience, this came with a certain amount of growth of understanding. It was very, very difficult. It didn't just happen like that. It took a very difficult, arduous, concentrated effort on all of our parts to learn that what kept us together was our commonality, and what would divide us was allowing people to use our differences to keep us apart. Thank you.